guys. Good to hear. Everybody feeling good, healthy, well?
I think we are.
Good.
So, well, Jay, you ready to get started, Jay? You and I ready to get this thing started?
Absolutely.
I know we got people popping on here, and Stas is going to start in a minute. We got a couple things to fill in here. And just want to make sure whoever's our moderator on here is running the platform to let us know Aaron's on, so Jay and I know to hand it over to Aaron right after we finish some of these items in here. So if y'all don't mind letting us know.
Is on.
Go ahead and do some bucket filling, Jay. First, I want to tell Jay, I want to fill Jay's bucket. Jay's been in a lot of meetings. I will tell you guys, if you're know of anybody that's looking to really start engaging their real estate, Jay's been in meetings all week. He's probably meeting with 12 to 15 people a week that are looking at joining Keller Williams. So fill Jay's bucket on getting all those meetings in, because I'm not sure we've ever had that much excitement going on, myself included. I'm probably, about 7 or 8 at least. And we got, how many small companies we talking to, Jay? I know we can't say who they are, but what, 3 right now, 4?
Excellent. Yes, several
small little organizations. So if you know anybody that's in pain right now that is concerned about uncertainty of what's going on, let Jay and I know. So Jay, great job of and filling your bucket for getting all those meetings in, man.
Thank you. Who else? Who else wants to fill a bucket?
I would.
Please do.
I have good news with my sister-in-law, Kathy. She has broken her fever, and finally the doctors are thinking that she may be out of the woods. She still has a little ways to go, but they think that she's gonna be okay.
That's wonderful.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So the prayers, that's what did it. Thank you.
That's
great
great.
news.
That's the best bucket fill right there. Who else? Who else wants to fill somebody else's bucket?
I want to fill Larry's bucket. Larry's been doing a great job every morning helping out with the scripts and role play, just being on there and giving some value. And I love that he's always showing up and plugging in, and it's showing in his production. Larry, the house guy, thanks, man.
Larry, the house guy. Perfect. Good. 2 more. I know you agents out there are thankful for something. Somebody step up. Yes, Robin.
Well, I'm thankful for Big Dan. He's just been so supportive, and he's such a wonderful teacher, and I'm just learning so much from the time that I get to spend with him, and I really appreciate him.
That's awesome, Robin.
Ditto for me. Thanks, Big Dan.
Same here.
I got one, Jay.
All right, Lisa Nutt.
Yes, I'm eating my breakfast, which is why I have my video off. Sorry. Also, let me swallow. I want to actually fill our amazing broker, Lisa Sullivan's bucket. I don't think we do it enough. The work of a broker is so hard and underappreciated. So I just want to let her know that I am grateful for everything that she does for all of us day in and day out to ensure that our ducks are in a row and that we are the esteemed and valued professionals that we are expected to be. So.
Thank you so much. I couldn't do it without Wendy and Nancy's support, and of course Jody as well. She's always there for us.
Yeah. Of course. Team efforts. Awesome.
And it's probably somebody that talks to Lisa the most is she handles it like a duck on the water. And so casually is calmly, and she never lets anything get under her skin, and she wakes up every morning and has your back. Even though she may come at you and say, hey, let's fix this, I tell you this right now, is that she's got your back. I'm telling you that from the behind the scenes. And you may feel like sometimes, oh no, the broker's calling me, and she really works hard on not feeling like it's the principal's office. So I'm not tooting her horn intentionally. I just know that job is, I don't know who said that. I think it was Lisa Nutt, is she handles it well. So Lisa, you did a great job. Thanks for being our broker.
Thank you all.
Jay, this is Bobby.
Hey, Bobby. Late timer.
I have one.
I'd like to fill all of Sierra Vista's bucket, Sierra Vista office and yours.
Nice.
I want to say how easy the transition from the other office has been and how helpful everybody's made it for us so that we can prosper here at Keller Williams.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Bobby. I needed to hear that this morning, so thanks for that.
Good.
That's wonderful. All right, any last call? Anyone else? I'll mention Bobby and her daughter Stephanie just joined Keller Williams in Sierra Vista, what, a week ago, Bobby? Week ago or so, and from a different brokerage, and are super excited. And it's fun. Bobby said it must have been a meant to be thing because they had some clients that they had that were kind of out in the cold, and as soon as they made the move over, they reached out and were under contract. Bobby,
literally the day we joined.
Yes.
2 of them.
Perfect. So good.
All right. Jay, this is Hope. I have one just more small one. And this is actually for David being our lead, you and Dan. I work most with Dan, but I wanted to tell you as leadership is what I perceive as our great leadership. Talking to other people at other agents at other brokerages, they got locked out of their brokerage during this time. And I said, gosh, that was not my experience with my brokerage at all. They arranged for 15 people pods. They were checking on us, daily engagement. So I guess I just wanted to, I definitely wanted to thank you guys for making us feel engaged and involved and like you care.
Yeah. Thank
awesome.
you. Hope.
Thanks, Hope.
Thank you. We feel like we don't do enough, even though I feel like I hear the same thing. So I do appreciate hearing that because I wake up every morning with anxiety over agents, hoping they're not, just worried about you guys. I really, really do. So I appreciate that because that means a lot. That could have been one I really appreciate for our whole leadership team. All right, so let's go. We're not going to have anybody speak today, I don't believe, but I just want to make sure we recognize our partners. Throw them up there if you don't mind. Of course, 210. We got Catalina is always there for us, 210 as well. And then we will be you've been kind of seeing this, our intro in Arizona. Some of y'all see in the hallway, and everybody kind of like, hey, we see in the hallway. It's kind of soft launching. I got about 3 pieces of paperwork that are going to be done today that's going to allow us to have the full power of this done and launched very soon. And it's going to be very exciting. It's very easy to use. Some of our teams have already been using it. We kind of demoed it through some of them, and some of the people on the call have been using it. So I'm not teasing you. I'm being very sincere. I had 2 calls this morning that are very last pieces of paperwork of some lenders around town that we're partnering with the Fairways of this world, to be honest. So we're ready to launch. So be very ready for an official launch on that. And it's going to be a great service to your clients. You're going to be really blown away on how easy this app works. All right, broker tip. Lisa, you got the floor.
I will be brief since we want to get to stats as quickly as possible. I just wanted to follow up. We did send an email out about masks in the office. We do need to comply with all the regulations that are out there and to try to keep everybody safe. So please, if you get a gentle reminder about wearing it, put it on. Everybody's going to forget from time to time, but we will be reminding you to put them on. The other thing is insurance. Some people have been experiencing problems getting insurance in the fire zones or foothills area. Please make sure that your clients are aware of this and have them check with their carrier to make sure that they can get coverage. Showing time's coming up, so make sure you sign on to a webinar for that. David's like having a fit, but that'll be so fantastic. So make sure you do that. And I will send an email out with all the other information. Got a lot of stuff going on right now.
Showing time. 30 seconds is we've been using it for years. I'm like one of the only people that's so excited because I know it.
I'm excited, David.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's right. My other Texas girl
is. I'm super excited because Delaware is doing it too, and it was amazing.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be bringing in one of our team members from San Antonio team that have been using it for years, our lead buyer's agent. Some of y'all have seen him with me, is big, tall Tom. And he's going to actually come in and just vomit on everybody on how to use it, honestly, like the power of it. The reason I get so excited is because the power of it is so cool. So you'll see that. And Colleen, just real quick, it's in the chat. Some people don't look at it. Catalina, thank you, Colleen. You're awesome. Title security will be closed July 3rd, obviously in honor of 4th of July. Does that mean all the banks are closed? No closings on the 3rd? Is that right, Lisa? She's shaking her head yes. All right, cool. I caught her with a drink.
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted. Yes, everything will be closed, including us, on July 3rd.
Okay, perfect. All right. Safety tip. Who's going to do this? I know this was.
This is Cindy. I'm going to handle the safety tip. So we know that it's always important for agents to be very careful when you're doing open houses, especially if you're alone, male or female. If you are in showings with people that you do not know, we do want you to be very careful. Have a buddy system. Have someone who knows where you are at all times. If you don't, sometimes we don't think about those kinds of things, but it is very important for your safety. Also, we have a great little form in the office that you can complete, and you can turn that form into the front desk, and we'll be your buddy here at the office, and someone will contact you just to check on you to make sure everything went well whenever you give us the time frame that you're going to show or going to have an open house. So don't forget to be safe. Be very careful. Next up is the MCA tip. So for today, we just thought as a staff that as we get back into working in the office and around with each other in close proximity, many things still over Zoom, it's really important for us to remember the culture of Keller Williams. As you know, through BOLD, what you focus on expands. And so we'd like to just spend a little time focusing on what our culture is and what it means. And so just quickly, I would like for us to review the vision statement. We have these slides that we can send to you in case you're not aware of the vision of Keller Williams and the mission. The mission being very important. It is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth living. This thing that sticks out to me right now is the experiences worth giving. You know, we're working with people who come from all different walks of life than we do necessarily, and they may not have the same exact belief system. But as a corporation, as a company, our company is founded on this mission. And so it is our goal and our design to give experiences to people that we don't necessarily have the same belief systems with, but to give them experiences that are exciting and wonderful and new homes. And we do meet a need in the real estate industry. And so let's just remember that our mission is for ourselves to have great careers and own wonderful businesses and enjoy our lives, but to enrich the lives of other people, whether they believe the same way that we do or not. And so that's our focus on culture for today. I'm done, David.
So I'll hand it one last thing to Jay, and I think Jay's going to have Aaron go, is in our culture. I just want to mention the safety part is, I know that's not, it is our culture to help each other, but over the years of being in Keller Williams and in leadership for a long time, unfortunately I've experienced these kind of things. And remember that most of these are random acts and not premeditated acts. I'm not saying there's not premeditated. And random acts, meaning that if you don't feel right, leave. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. If you're uncomfortable with a buyer, get a buddy. Trust your gut. And I usually, we don't use the word gut because a lot of times in gut, they say that means you gave up thinking. In this case, I do want you to trust your energy and your feel for safety, and make sure you call somebody. We'll be there in a heartbeat to help out or to do something with you, to go on a showing with you, things like that. So trust your gut, trust what you're feeling. And if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. And most of the time people have said they did something they felt like they shouldn't have, and it turned bad. So that is usually what the case is around the country. So trust that. Also, please pray for that gal that did have that. I think she was in Virginia going through. And if you'd want to go, we'll post her little website. She's pretty well beat up. Even if it's $100, even if it's $50, even if it's $10, they probably raised like $70,000 for her and her family to pay for bills. I think that'd be a great thing for us to put on the Facebook page and to take care of as well. And I also want to pray for the fires and give thoughts for the fires up there. That's also, and I just want to give a shout out. We didn't give her, maybe did another week, and that is give a shout out to Jody Koch, because I think she's the one that had the idea. Am I right? For the
right,
the beverages for the fire department. That's who we are, guys. I was traveling to that day, getting out of town, and I was getting pictures sent to me, and it was Mount refreshments. It was like, it kept building. So, you know, that's our culture. That's who we are. And I love the experiences worth giving part focus on there. Cindy of doing that. So Jay, anything else you need to add? We're right on time at the 15-minute mark. Hand it over to Aaron.
We actually have a question in the chat. This is for Lisa. It says, can we ask to see an ID at an open house before we allow them in and record that information down on the sign-in sheet? Maybe this would help deter someone knowing they'll be held accountable. Is this something our agents are able to do?
They are absolutely able to do it as long as they apply it consistently across the board. So if they ask one person, they need to ask everybody.
Okay, thank you.
And I just want to give an update for the beverages. We collected over 150 cases of water and sports drinks, basically in less than 48 hours. I mean, it was incredible. So 100 went to the Golden Ranch Fire District to distribute to their firefighters and the Bighorn Fires. And the other cases went to the Northwest Fire District. And they were all very, very happy to receive them and thanked us from the bottom of their hearts. And it was a really good thing that we did.
Well, Jody, great job to you. Thank you. So
thanks, Jody.
I think that's it. Anything else that we need to cover before we unleash Aaron Wilson, fresh off of his trip to the wilderness?
Bring on Aaron.
I don't know about you guys, but KLP's enjoying some salmon steaks today. So
cool. That's not fair.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's not true. I just wanted to rub it in. All right, Aaron Wilson, if we can, you want to share your screen? You're on, my friend.
You got it. So I want to just kind of start off by kind of figuring out what everybody's feeling out there in the market. So if you've got any kind of activity or no activity or whatever, just please speak up right now so I can hear what's going on. This is where I get to learn from you guys.
Aaron, the market's going crazy.
Meaning what?
We, in the last week, have submitted, I don't know, 4 or 5 offers, and the largest one had 12 other offers and went all cash, way over asking. And I've pulled escalation clauses out of the closet and have used them on 2 transactions and still got beat out.
Okay. Anybody else?
I've got a new listing and it is priced because it's an as-is fix-up. And I didn't plan an open house, but I went out to the house yesterday because a couple people had called and wanted to see it. No signs, no advertising. I showed it to 7 people that showed up in 2 hours. And they're just, I mean, they're driving around and they're seeing stuff on Zillow and Trulia and, you know, just everywhere, all our websites. And they're just showing up and checking things out. I've got 2 whole pieces of paper. We showed that house 17 times yesterday in the first day of the listing. So the market is crazy. It's 285, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,800 square feet. So it's definitely a fix-up.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I've got some buyers that just got pre-qualified for 325, and over the last day, they've had about half a dozen homes that they liked, and every single house I call on, under contract, full price offer, has an offer above list price. It's just hot, hot, hot.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we've been experiencing the same thing here. So it's no different. Matter of fact, this is a common theme all across the board nationwide right now. Remember before, actually, I say before, when COVID kicked off, we can go back and look at the stats here in just a moment, but listings dropped significantly. The amount of listings coming onto the market, and you'll see here in a moment to where they're at now. And it's not getting any better. Meaning this will probably be around for a little bit until the inventory levels creep back up to a level to where it's going to meet that buyer demand, which does what to prices? Okay, let's go with this.
Lowers them. Lowers them.
Lowers prices?
Right now, our prices are going up. And I have a feeling that a lot of these things are going to have a hard time appraising because the appraisers aren't keeping up with the escalation in the pricing.
So to give you an example on the supply-demand concept, bottom line is if you only have a certain amount of items that are sitting on a shelf somewhere, granted our homes don't sit on a shelf, I get it. However, that's the amount of homes that buyers are able to purchase out there. And when we have a lack of inventory, the seller has a lot more opportunity to increase prices as long as they come in line with appraisals. And, you know, and sometimes it doesn't matter if it's cash and the buyer doesn't even want to do an appraisal. So keep in mind when inventory levels are low, typically the next 2 to 3 months, you'll typically see a price increase. That's an indicator for what's to come. And you'll kind of notice that here in just a moment here when I kind of turn on the share screen here. And then where are the buyers coming from? Anybody?
California.
California? Yep. We're seeing a big influx of that. Why? Why do you think?
The policies in California.
Hawaii.
Well, that and because they're
prices
able to
in
work from
California.
home, and so they can get more for their value here than they can in California.
Correct.
I think you're seeing a lot of people coming from the states that are having upheaval. I had a buyer that was looking to move to Tucson and just have a part-time home, couple weeks a month or a couple weeks a year type thing. He called me a couple weeks ago and said, we're moving permanently. We're getting out of Minnesota. He's somewhere near Minneapolis.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing them from all over, you know, Western, but bottom line is they're coming into town. There's a lot more out-of-state buyers now than we've had before as well. So keep in mind when they're coming in from out of state, they can't physically look. So where are they looking? So that being said, they're looking where they want to look. It's just going to be making sure that your digital presence is out there more than ever right now. So keep that in mind, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen, guys. Good news and bad news. Good news is this will be a little bit shorter today due to the fact that there's no new home stats. However, I think we already know some of the new home stats. New homes are actually starting to take over the inventory market right now, and you'll kind of see that a little bit. So you guys have the shortened condensed version of the packet, and I just wanted to put this one up here so it's a little bit clearer. You guys able to see the screen, am I correct? Give me a thumbs up. Good, okay. So therefore, that being said, I'm gonna scroll down to the very first new listings right here, okay? Let me move this out of the way. So therefore, that being said, what we're looking at right now is we're looking at a 20% decrease in new listings, meaning new inventory that's coming on the market, obviously, which does what the pricing in the upcoming months.
Increase.
Right, there you go. Increasing prices in the upcoming months. Where are interest rates at right now?
Really low.
Really, really low. So who's got an advantage when it comes to affordability? Buyers?
Oh, absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah, buyers.
Yep. So that being said, keep that in mind. That's some of the conversations that you can be having with some of these buyers that are out there. Now, here's the thing. People talk about a seasonal market. When you look at the dips, like right through here, these peaks and valleys that we have all through here, this is pretty much almost identical right here. And that is from 2014 to 2021. Some of you, the majority of you probably haven't even been in the industry for this long. So therefore, this is kind of a norm. You'll see things taper off. New listings dip down in November and December, obviously, because people don't want to list during the holidays. However, we're right in the middle here. This is typically no different than any other time of year. We usually dip off right in the summertime just a little bit, but our activity is actually increased from a standpoint of pendings, and you'll see the sold piece here in a moment. So what I want to talk about here is new listings are a lead indicator. Lead indicators are going to tell us what's coming up. Okay, when you combine this with new home sales stats, there's more listings that are coming on the market for the new home builder as well. However, remember, they were shut down for a little bit. So therefore, that inventory is a little bit delayed as well, which is actually having a huge impact. And that's why we're probably seeing multiple offers on a lot of different properties, because bottom line is they're not out there. Okay. When you compare new listings sitting here right at about 1,200 per month compared to, look back here, 2008, look at what is that, 2,700? That's quite substantial. Okay. So meaning that you're going to take a look at some of the solds, how many did we sell, because things do fall through, don't get me wrong, okay? However, you're going to see some of these that are right in alignment with where we need to be, okay? Next slide is going to be your pending sales. So if you're following along with a packet that you may print it out, you've got it. If not, this is what I have here. I do believe, did you email those out there, Heather, by chance?
Yes.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you. So if you want those, or if you want a cleaner copy, you can print these out and highlight them yourself and, you know, talk whatever you want to say about these stats and kind of cater them to yourself personally. So one of the things I want to
in the chat as well, if people didn't get it via email.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So one of the things I want to kind of point out here is pending sales. Pending sales are also an indicator for what? What's the next one?
Closing.
Thank you. So if it goes under contract, obviously, the odds of it closing are a lot higher, okay? This isn't like it was back in the buyer's market that we had back in 2006, 7, 8, where things dropped off. Basically, if a buyer goes under contract right now, they're considered pretty lucky because they actually got the home. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that being said, what we have to understand is, you know, going into the situation, sellers can accept an offer, but they're probably not going to do too much on the back end when it comes to a lot of the repairs. The probability is there. That's all. So it's not saying they're not going to do it, but the probability is there. So we have to educate the buyers on the front end to, hey, you know, congratulations, you're under contract. We beat out 13 other offers. So if they had to go back to the drawing board and find another property, the buyer's probably going to want to do a little bit of the repairs, et cetera. So anyhow, that's different negotiating tactics to use there. So one of the things I want to point out here, though, is 1,486 pending transactions. That is actually a record. So homes are going under contract dramatically. The problem is we don't have enough homes.
Yeah.
This is only the resale. Okay, so when we talk about the new home subdivisions, you know, their marketing, the way that they are marketing is actually, you know, in my opinion, they don't have a broad spectrum of a platform to use to advertise for all new home builds. So each different builder is marketing a little bit differently. However, has anybody experienced any kind of demand in the new home arena versus the resale? Anybody at all?
Juan de la Osa.
Yeah. Go, give me some examples on that, because I already know this. So talk to me about that. What do you know about that?
He wasn't here just a few weeks ago. He had 31 transactions, 25 of them were new home.
Mm-hmm. When you start following trends, that's what we're seeing. That's where the buyers are at. That's where the listings are at. Think about that. It's just not your sign on the listing. So if you have a listing, the probability of that thing selling is pretty high. Am I correct?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So keep in mind with this right here, pending sales are up. They will probably stay up until the inventory levels come back to I don't even know what a new norm is going to be. I would look in the realm of, let's see here, creating inventory and look in the realm of about 1,500 to 2,000 listings to be had. So just keep that in mind. Okay.
Hey, Aaron, since we're talking about the new builds, I know some of the new builders are looking at or getting creative with co-op fees. This is a really good time to remind our buyer agents to have a very strong buyer broker with a great conversation up front. Is if they're going to buy a new build and they're not co-oping, that those buyers need to pay our commission rate. It's something that we need to talk about because it can happen. It's happened a couple of times in the last 22 years that I've been in real estate, and it may happen again here real soon.
So, and I'm going to tail off of that if you don't mind there, Jody.
Yeah.
I think in what you're in reference to, and I'm going to go back and here's the old man here talking now. I remember specifically a co-op when it was very tough in the market, a totally different market, when a co-op fee was 10% at a new home builder. So there's different tactics they use, and typically when we're in a market that is a seller's market, they know it's a lot easier to sell the product. So therefore, you can typically see a lot of that in play, like Jody's talking about. And to protect yourself, making sure that is in place, that buyer broker is in place. So therefore,
hey, Aaron, can I speak on that real quick?
Yeah, sure can.
I know I was at a couple new construction sites last week, and specifically, Lennar is doing just 2% on the first transaction of your 12-month year. And then they up the percentage the second and third transaction. So it's already happening at a lot of the new construction sites, especially at the lower price point ones I've noticed.
Gotcha.
Yep. There
you go. So that's a good broker's class on how to write buyer brokers right there, to be honest with you, to protect yourself. So one of the other things on this is, if you take a look, this is townhomes over here on this side. And if you take a look, the townhome pending sales increased 21%. So therefore, look for that inventory to be pretty much non-existent as well, meaning price point is probably going to start to increase as well. Okay. So
Aaron, you just think that's because of affordability, basically?
I do. That's
what I think too, yeah.
Absolutely, because here's the thing. If you can't buy, if somebody's looking to get into a property and own a property and they can't find it in the single family res, then they're going to go right there to town.
Aaron,
speaking of that real quick. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, David.
No, I'm good. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say there's other factors in the townhouse. There's not any real new builds in townhouse, and most of them are older. We've got 3 buyers that are looking for townhouses, and anytime anyone comes on the market, it's gone within a day.
Yep. The demand there is very, very high. Very high. So closing's a lag measure. So what is a lag measure? Lag measure is basically, it's done. It's in the record books. You're not going to change that number ever. So meaning the number of homes that were sold this last month, again, this last month, meaning that the month of May, so therefore they had to go under contract, 30 to 60 days prior to that, typically. So that's during peak COVID. That's during lockdown, okay? We literally had a significant drop in the number of closings from month over month, which is down 30%, which also increases demand, is what we're starting to experience right now and probably the next couple months. Okay, so however, if we go back, remember this is closings right here, but pending, extremely high. So what do you predict will happen to closings this next month in June, up or down?
They're going up.
There you go. Common sense. That's how you look at the numbers and determine. That's the crystal ball. That's the only crystal ball that we have. Okay. So you take a look at that and we figure that one out. Now take a look at the condo, even more extreme. I truly believe that's due to price point as well. So it's not getting any better, is what I'm getting at. Combine that with new listings on the market being down, it can get even uglier. So in your best interest, probably it'd be a good idea to go out and get as many listings as possible, because then you're in control, and then probably pick up a massive amount of buyers off of that as well. So just food for thought. Any questions on the closed sale side? This is a significant number right here, significant drop, which is creating that demand. And you take a look right here. This is currently where we're at.
Hey, Aaron, as most of the appointments that I'm having with agents, that is their primary concern, is how do I go get listings? How do I get more listings or get any listings? And so you're right on target with what everyone is feeling. So
yeah, and I'll say this: we've had during this crisis we've had our lowest supply of listings in our inventory as well. However, the buy side has been just literally crazy. So that's we've reaped the reward on that side. But sooner than later, what can happen is if you don't watch it, and this is one of the things to keep in mind. If you've got a listing, it's typically going to sell. However, if the market shifts on a moment's notice, you can pick up listings, and then you've got to start watching the multiple offers. That's the first thing to identify. That's the first indicator. If those start going away, what typically is the second indicator that's going to increase?
Inventory.
Not necessarily. Inventory can increase, but how about days on market?
No, there you go.
So your days on market is going to start to increase, but your first indicators are those multiple offers. And I did not draw on that screen. Did somebody? There we go. I didn't do that. So anyhow, that being said, keep an eye on these multiple offers scenarios. So if you start to, if you're holding a bunch of listings, and here's the thing, if you've got a listing and it hasn't sold in about 3 minutes, there's probably something wrong with the property. So I say that sarcastically, but I mean, take a look at it within the first week. If you don't have foot traffic through it, if you don't have potential offers, you might want to have a discussion because you don't want to start chasing the market. Okay.
People have got to be real careful about overpricing their properties in anticipation of things selling for more, because if they overprice it and don't get any showings or don't get it sold quickly, it quickly becomes stigmatized and it's hard to recover from that.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of counseling the seller too. Talk to them about hey, listen, we're gonna have to sell this thing twice. First to the consumer, which is pretty easy as you can see. Second is going to be to the appraisal. So we can jump up and down and congratulate each other when this thing goes under contract. However, the appraisal is going to dictate a little bit more as well. And so just keep that in mind. So good. So all right, days on market. Talk a little bit about days on market here. Days on market. If you'll look right here, 30 days on market. That's actually what? That's another record. That's the lowest that we've ever been. So keep an eye on that one. I do not foresee that one going down any further, personally. However, I don't see it increasing dramatically either, due to the fact that where we're at, we're pretty much at a low. So you go over here.
Aaron, why do you say that?
What do I say that? Because typically 30 days on market, unless the people are coming in and purchasing cash, these things are selling and they're actually going to escrow within that 30 days. So meaning unless something changes in that manner, if they start to increase the process of lending for appraisals, etc., then I could potentially see that go a little bit lower.
Right, and the price of the house, our $1 million homes, are what keeps that number from dipping down into like a 15 or a 20 day. I mean, if we did it in different price ranges, that number would be hugely low at under 200,000. It would be 5 days on market.
Yeah, 2-3 days.
Yeah.
So that's, you're absolutely right. So what we're looking at is we're looking at a broad spectrum of everything. But if you were to price band it, is what we call it. If you were to price band it out, you're right. Your days on market, anything under 200,000 is within minutes. So, and then you take a look at back in. And here's, for some of you that aren't in the industry or weren't in the industry back in 2008, 9, 10, 11, it was typical, believe it or not, to have a home sit on the market for about 4 months. We tend to forget that and forget that we're in the market. So keep in mind that right now, speed to action is key. So therefore, when I say speed to action, it's everything speed to action. Your skill set as down in here as a listing agent can be very low. I don't mean that to be rude, but here's the deal. If you can fog a mirror and list a property, it will probably sell. Now, here's the thing, that your skill set has got to be increased on the buy side to keep things going. So keep that in mind there. And then of course, when a market shifts, the tactics have got to be a little bit different. So bottom line is keep your skill set up, stay informed, understand what's going on with trends. So you're staying ahead of the ball instead of behind it. So that will help you out dramatically. As you'll see from last year, it's down 25%. The unique piece though, take a look at this right here. These are townhomes. That's actually up. So just kind of watching that a little bit as well, but of course that's due to price point as we see. Any questions here? Cool. Median sales price, and then we'll go to average here in a moment. So median sales price right at 250. That's a good ballpark number. That's a great number to kind of know. If you're running stats and you don't have your specific median price set out, you can use the market stats. That's this number right here. That's a great benchmark to go off of. I'm not too concerned about this dipping due to the indicators that I've seen within the last 2 months. I actually predict that's probably going to go up in the next couple months. So, and if anybody wants to have discussion on that, we can have discussion on that. But other than that, I'm going to press to the average sales price. So let me ask you this. Somebody tell me the difference between median and average. Anybody? Bueller?
Average is the sum of the total divided by the number of homes or units, and median is actually the middle or how many times in frequency a certain unit is selling at.
Okay, perfect. Why is that important when we look at this?
Because average can be skewed easily, median more accurate.
Now, I don't have the answer to this, but the public always wants to know what the average price is. Am I right? Typically. So what we have an opportunity to do is we have an opportunity to educate them and showing them both. Now, the good thing is if you take a look at this slide right here, median and average, both charts look almost identical. Okay. That being said, you know, we can actually talk our way through that, no problem whatsoever. However, for accuracy purposes, you're probably going to want to use your median slide. That's going to help you out a lot more, and you're a lot more accurate. Because if you have a couple multi-million-dollar homes that go into play, that's going to skew your numbers on the average side. Cool. Speaking of which, average 299 versus what was the median? 250. It's a little bit different, right? All right. Now, does anybody remember last month what the median price point for new home builds are? Bueller?
Was it 350?
We're in the threes.
It's almost $100,000, almost $100,000 more than the resale side. So those new home builders are typically going to be move-up buyers or out-of-state buyers. Am I right? So just kind of knowing who you're marketing to and who you're talking to when you're going to that listing presentation, or the buyer that comes into for the consultation. And with money being cheaper due to the fact of interest rates being lower, they can purchase a lot more with that price point as well. Okay, cool. Percent list price received. So here's the thing. This is actually all the way back to 2012. It's been averaging about 98% for the last 8 years. So list price to sales price ratio is theoretically, if you list the property for $200,000, you'll probably sell it for 98% of that list price. So meaning it will probably sell for the 196. Now, of course, take a look at that in price bands as well, because this is more typically your list price to sales price ratio on properties under 250 right now are either at 100% or over, and that's when we're talking about these properties selling for over asking price. Is that not great information to be talking to a buyer about when they want to lowball an offer? Absolutely. So it shows them statistically that they're probably not going to get it. However, they can put the offer in all day long. So trying to educate them on the front end to save not only you time, but save them time and save lots of emotion. So let's see here, what else we have here. Housing Affordability Index. As you notice, it's been ticking up. Up means more affordable. It's been ticking up since we've gone into this COVID pandemic. So that being said, even with interest rates dropping again this month, I would not doubt if this actually goes up even more, even though prices go up. So somebody explain that one to me. How can prices go up and the affordability index literally increase as well?
Wages are going up.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Wages are going up.
Wages can be going up, yeah.
Interest rates going down.
Yep.
More jobs.
That's probably the big one right there. So if interest rates going down, an interest rate that goes down has a lot more significant impact on affordability. And when you are, I challenge every single person to actually go to a calculator, a mortgage calculator, an app, and just mess with it for quite a while and understand what it does, what interest rate does to the loan. How much principal, how much interest, you can load into taxes and insurance as well, but just understanding that at a very high level and being able to convey that to a buyer is powerful.
And Aaron, I would add, if it's a 15-year versus a 30.
Correct.
Significant.
That is huge. Now, for a seller, sellers typically aren't too concerned about an interest rate. If they're only selling, they're typically not too concerned about that because it really doesn't affect them. Because what are they mostly concerned with? The bottom line. How much they're going to be able to receive for their property. Am I correct? How much they're going to net. So being able to walk them through that process as well. However, talking to them about, hey, interest rates are extremely low right now. So that means there are more buyers that are out there. And with more buyers and the price point of wherever they're at, you can walk them through the scenarios and the stories of what's going on in the market. So kind of a interesting topic here, but what kind of market are we in? Are we in a seller's market, a buyer's market, or a balanced market?
Seller's market.
Seller's market.
Okay, statistically, we're in a seller's market, meaning our inventory levels are literally below 5 months of
Some
inventory.
categories, it's less than a month.
There you go. And I'm going to go right here to that. So right now, all of Tucson is at 1.5. A seller's market is anything under 5.
Wow.
A balanced market is 5 to 7. So keep that in mind. And as you notice, we dramatically drop into a seller's, even deeper into a seller's market, which if you just kind of use the terminology, who has the advantage in a seller's market? The seller. However, it's almost a catch-22 because depending on price, depending on interest rates, who has an advantage on that side?
Buyers.
The buyer. So on paper, we're literally in a seller's market. However, there's a lot of advantage for the buyers that are out there right now. And that's probably exactly why we're feeling the demand that's still there at a very high level. So let's think about this. What do you think would happen overnight if the interest rates jumped up 1%?
Oh, you could see a quick decline.
Okay, decline in what though?
The activity, the buyers.
So then activity would slow down, which would do what to inventory?
Allow it to increase.
Okay. And here's the thing, people still need to buy and sell regardless if it increases a full point.
Right, they're just not going to be able to afford as much home. But I don't think it would slow down with 1%.
There you go. It knocks out a good amount of buyers because of that affordability index now. Because there's people that are able to purchase now, if they have a job, obviously, than there ever has been.
Yep.
Ever. So therefore it's opening up the pool of potential buyers. So therefore, even though pricing has increased, it hasn't increased at the rate that the interest rates have dropped to offset that difference. That makes sense? So that's why we see that demand that's out there. Those that can buy have been hearing it over the last couple, years. I'm going to say here in Tucson, should buy. That's what they've been hearing. That gap is there. So that being said, that's why we see the demand, in my opinion. And this drop from a 1.9 to a 1.5, that's significant. Now, the builders can't build fast enough, because if they could build fast enough, we'd have the same amount of inventory, but they just can't. Plus they slowed down, plus the interest rates are down. So it's literally gangbusters out there right now.
Aaron, new builds are also having an inventory blockage. There's not as much material coming in on tankers, and supplies are low and increasing in cost.
You know what? I agree with you. Absolutely. Not only that, but what we have to watch out for there is what the cost of this labor, the cost of the product as well, the lumber. So if that starts to go up, what does that do to pricing? Because they're there to reap profits, obviously. So therefore, that's why we see almost $100,000 difference in the median price point on a new build versus a resale. So we'll talk about this one here real quick. So we talked a little bit about month supply of inventory. And if you take a look at inventory homes for sale, this one right here is the killer. That's huge. That is that difference of the 1.9 to a 1.5 and a 37.5% drop. That's huge. If we were sitting back in 2006, 2007, when we had like 10,000 homes on the market, and I kid you not when I'm talking about that, you would typically show a buyer this many homes before they would actually purchase. I say that jokingly, but here's the thing. Right now, we have to be very strategic on how and when we show properties. If we know it came on the market today, this afternoon, I'm pretty sure that we can't wait till this weekend to go show them. Am I correct?
That's correct.
It's called speed to action. We have got to understand that at a very high level. Here's the thing. Lock boxes have certain times to be able to show properties. You can adjust those lockbox times as well. If they're vacant, see what I'm saying?
Aaron.
Yes.
I've actually started promoting doing showings via FaceTime and Zoom, even to local people. It's like, hey, you can't get out till Saturday. Well, this came out on Wednesday. Why don't you take your lunch hour with me and sit behind your computer and let's go see it. I've actually got 2 homes right now under contract. One's closing next week. I've never met the buyer. They haven't seen the home in person. One of them I showed 12 homes to via FaceTime.
Okay. I love your terminology and what you're talking about here, because here's the deal. You are showing homes.
Right.
That's how we've adapted to become the tech-enabled agent. Those that are not able to do this and not understand it will be left behind. That's my opinion, because you're able to adapt to the change abruptly. Now, here's the thing. Will it continue like this? I don't know. We don't know. I don't see it going away. Matter of fact, I see it becoming more and more enhanced due to the fact that we've got the technology. Use it. Use it at a very, very high level, and then your customer experience will go through the roof. Let's see here. I'm going to hit one more slide.
Aaron, let me just add to that comment.
Yes.
With the new technology, with the new methods of showing, comes new liability, and we have to be mindful of that. So just a word of caution from an old DB.
Absolutely. And you know what? There's a lot of liability that can go into there. A lot. Meaning we know that sellers have cameras all over their home. And when you're going into these homes, just keep in mind that, you know what, go in there and do what you're supposed to be going in there to do, you know?
Yeah.
So that liability is absolutely, it's huge. I will go back to one more slide, and then I'd like to have a little bit of a discussion here, if you guys don't mind, and kind of open up the floor here. So a couple of the items that I want to kind of point out here is, again, this is kind of a recap. Closed sales are down 31.5%. The amount of homes that closed for that month. However, we've had the highest, month supply of inventory, median pending sales. Sorry, pending sales are up, meaning that's what's coming up. Also take a look down here. Inventory of homes down, month supply of inventory is down. So therefore, when you take a look at what's coming up in the future, we've got a lot of opportunity for our buyers, because we know that the inventory will increase a little bit, okay? This document, as you see right here, I won't go too deep into this because it breaks into different segments, and that's why I typically don't go into a lot of this. But if you wanted to find out exactly what a certain area like Central, East, I'll just stop right here. These are all this is your data, pretty much the same categories that we just covered, just segmented into certain areas. You can go deeper and put it into a subdivision. So therefore, now you know you've got your pulse on that subdivision versus your pulse on all of Tucson. All of Tucson is great to know what's going on. However, knowing what's going on in that subdivision, that's power. That's power. So when you can kind of relate it out or relate it in, meaning starting with Tucson market stats, getting into a specific area stat, and then going into that subdivision, it will show your seller that, you know, you are very in tune with what's going on and get them the most money in the time frame that they want to sell. So keep that in mind, that these are out there for everybody, but as you see, I'm not going to go into each one of these because everybody's selling homes in different markets. Cool. So questions, concerns, talk to me.
Hey, Aaron, JT
Yes.
here. What are some of the experiences that the agents are having with appraisals? I know recently on a personal experience on a refi, the appraisal that came in was $175,000 under market due to drive-bys and desktop appraisals. So I'm wondering if that's impacting each and every one of us that's working on sales right now. What's their experience?
Anybody?
JT, in the lower price in the lower prices, we've had a couple come in way under purchase price, and though the sellers don't like it, they're having to lower their price down to appraised value.
I will say that we've had an experience, not recently, but when the COVID crisis kicked off, appraisers did not want to go into properties at all. So therefore they didn't. So they would be looking at old photos. They didn't even want to do an appraisal at all. However, we had the opportunity to use the Matterport, and it's date stamped, so they're able to see what it looked like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, right, and basically do a walkthrough tour and do what they need to do there. We've had appraisers actually appraise properties off of a Matterport.
We've also got about a 3-week backlog on appraisals.
So we've seen a little bit of the low appraisal come in, and I would not be surprised if we don't expect that here in the future too.
And therein lies another challenge that we face. You know, we can know exactly what's happening in the marketplace, but we are really ultimately at the mercy of those appraisers along the way. And we've got to have a certain strategy and a certain skill level to deal with that, and at least advise our sellers to be prepared for something like that.
That's right. I think the word tidewater has been used more often than not recently as well.
Right, and you know, a good point of practice is if you have a listing and it's pushing the market, then immediately upon a sale or a contract, you take the key box off, or you put in MLS key box no, even though it's still there. and you wait for the appraiser to call you to gain access. And then you offer a package, and with all the amenities and everything that the seller has put into the property and the costs of those items. And that really, really will benefit you. And the appraiser will most likely thank you. Some are resistant, but most are very open to receive whatever you want to send, and then they will take that however they take it. But it really is helpful.
Excellent advice. Seriously. Excellent advice on that. That is a very, very good thing to do. On the buy side,
if in case the appraiser calls you, and
he has to call you.
Yeah, but they don't. And we had a personal experience where we had a litany of those items, especially, you know, indicative of the kind of construction and amenities that went into this house, and still no contact. But that's a whole other story. So you still have to be mindful of that.
Right. I think professional photos and the Matterport in this time that we're in are extremely important. Anything you can do to increase the value of your home just via videos or professional pictures, not a cell phone picture, because it doesn't upgrade the property as well.
Right. A list of upgrades on the attachment as well in MLS, because the appraisers are opening up those listings. What have you put in your attachments to show the value of the home?
Exactly, Jody.
Yep. And please tell me nobody's out there doing photos with cell phone, please.
There are people doing that, but none of us.
Okay, just saying, don't be that person, please. So
I was making a comment yesterday about how many properties are showing up on MLS with no pictures. That has increased dramatically.
I think, Sean, people are in a rush to get to listed, and the backlog is not just appraisers, but pick everything along the process. But they're just rushing head first, get it on the market so it can get sold. And
but they're not doing their sellers any justice, because a lot of times that stigmatizes it right off the bat. People are afraid to even look at it.
So what I'm hearing you say is have a system in place. That's all.
Good point, Aaron.
Yeah, good.
Can I ask something back about the appraisal? Can we, let's say if the appraisal comes in very low, can we submit a very strong CMA to the appraiser, if they'll even look at it, to help justify the asking price?
It depends on what type of appraisal, whether it's conventional, FHA, VA. It also depends on the appraiser. You start challenging appraisers and they get their back up, and they are not going to change their value.
I think the best script for that is help me understand how you came up with the price when a buyer and seller just came to an agreement on this price. Just help me understand.
You can also bring in, if it was a multiple offer situation, you can tell them, you know, we had 5 offers on this property. There are 5 people that wanted this property, and this was the highest offer. Obviously, in this market, it's, you know, the going price of what people are willing to pay.
So I've got a question for some people out there. We've all been there, obviously. Does anybody have any listings that they have and they're like, you know what, I know you guys are all talking about multiple offers and all this. I don't even have a buyer on my property yet. Is anybody experiencing that right now? Or crickets?
Everything we put on the market goes under contract within 3 or 4 days.
Not my listing.
In the chat,
my house was on the market for 33 days before we had 2 offers submitted in the same day. And it was listed price to sell.
There's time. Here's the thing. Again, that 30 days on market, that's 1 month of inventory. Keep in mind, it's still a seller's market. However,
I know.
You're right.
I know. But you asked, and
that's perfect.
Lots of showings, but no actual offers. And then all of a sudden I get multiple offers.
Yep. And usually what we, you know, when we discuss this, it's more of one of 3 different things. It's condition, price, and location. And here's the thing. When you're talking about location, you got to take a look at all of the stats going around that house, which means the location of that home, and you run your data off of that. So if the data is literally, things are moving like hotcakes and yours isn't, it's probably going to be one of the other two items. And it might be a third, which is going to be accessibility to enter the property.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, there you go. Yeah. Okay. Good. Anybody have any questions right now? I'll end it on this if not, but yeah, let me go with questions first and then I'll kind of have some closing.
Aaron, I have a question for Lisa. Lisa Sullivan, are you seeing any use of the escalation clauses?
I am. Not a lot of it, but I'm seeing a handful of people using it. And it's a great tool if used properly.
Twice last week.
My last 2 deals are with escalation clauses.
I've used
Make sure you do it on net price, not on sales price.
Yeah, and therein lies the reason for raising the question, is because it's nice to have it, but it's also nice to know how to use it.
Correct.
I know they're being used in LA at a very high level right now.
I would, as a new agent, I would like to see a class on that, or a 30-minute session or something where we can actually go over that.
Maybe we can do that on the broker chat tomorrow.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Good idea.
Same.
Good. So, anybody else? Don't be scared.
Great job, Aaron, as usual.
Oh, well, thank you. So all I do, I've been looking at this stuff for 14, 15 years now, and so it's like second nature to me. So with that being said, I'll just speak from a little experience. I do predict prices will probably increase a little bit in the next month or two. Whether right, wrong, or indifferent, it's just that's where the numbers are looking like right now. We're not seeing a slowdown in activity, and we're definitely not seeing homes coming on the market. So,
I have one last thing I'd like to see if Jay has the numbers. We're seeing all these numbers in the MLS as a whole, but how is our office doing, or how are our offices doing?
Great question.
Because again, in the last month or two, we were up when everything else was down. Are we holding? Jay's digging.
Yeah, we are. So closed units, we were up 12.4% for the month, or year to date, we're up 12.4%. The market's down 31.75%. Yes, our numbers are still looking good. You should get some type of, we'll get this out to you guys.
Yeah, do a quick summary sheet. There's your sales point on your listings, people.
Yeah. Yes.
This company is that far ahead of the rest of the market. That means we know what we're doing compared to what's happening in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And I think it's the difference between the fact that most of us kept working and a lot of other companies shut down and weren't working.
Well, there's that too, but and that's actually a huge point. I agree with you, Sean. And again, that goes back to credit to David and the leadership for again, we all remember that on day one, it was day 1 or 2 where they're like, okay, here's what we're going to do. There was a plan as opposed to, oh, let's lock the door.
I will say that I've had a lot of discussion with a lot of different other teams nationally, and there's some of them that literally it wasn't good, and one of the things that kind of boiled back down to it is let's go back and look at this. And I'm not saying this is the secret to success, but there's 55 people that are on this call, and thank you, because you're plugging into your business. Now, when this first started, that was the very first thing that I had mentioned too. People lost their jobs. Now, here's the thing. You as a real estate agent, if you didn't plug in and you don't plug in, you just lost your job. So that means it's time to double down. That means it's time to get to work, to roll your sleeves up and get your butt out there, and that's what you guys have done. So when you look at it from a market center standpoint and you've been able to utilize technology, let's look at this. We did not, yes, we had Zoom. Don't get me wrong. We had Zoom I know our team, we've had it for 2-3 years now. However, we've been more accountable on Zoom. We literally go to classes on Zoom. We stay engaged with it. We go to our team meetings on Zoom. Okay, so you got to take a look back at yourself and go, you know what did I do? What did we do to actually help engage our business accordingly? We set up home offices. We've set up an area of our home that is now designated for real estate. Those that have done this have been successful. Those that have not done it are the ones that are flailing like the rest of the market. So I applaud everybody for doing what you're doing. And here's the thing: if you start to see somebody drift off on that little island, get them back in.
Yeah.
So I applaud everybody for that, and I do. I was looking at numbers there with Jay, and I'm proud of KW because you guys have plugged in, So that means that we're taking market share, and you take a look at the amount of closings that had happened, and we've got the majority of the market share there. So that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Aaron, the old saying goes, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, Aaron, I have one quick announcement before I've got to move to an appointment. Hey, for Red Day, the Sierra Vista office is taking collection of items that are going to be sold at a yard sale this weekend to support a nonprofit there. It's a nonprofit that supports women and children that are in need of housing. So if you have anything that you would like to donate, this is super short notice and I'm so sorry, but if you could bring it to KLP over the next 24 to 30 hours and just drop it by here. We're going to have some people going down on Friday so they can load up trucks and all that stuff and get it down there. So if you want to participate and donate, it's going to go to a great cause, and that's what they're doing for their Red Day this year. So thanks so much. I appreciate it. We'll get an email out to everyone as well.
Got it.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Thank you.
One thing.
Yeah.
Randy, you want to know the socks? They're actually Top Gun socks there, Randy.
Nice.
Bingo.
Go to the movies and see the Top Gun 2 soon.
There you go.
Guys, have a great day.
I thought it'd be some sock eyes.
Listening today.
That's
right. Some sock eye salmon.
Exactly.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Good meeting.